Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Becca and today I have Becca's Bookopoly round 26. So if you guys are unfamiliar with Bookopoly at all, it is the TBR game that I play every single month, inspired by Monopoly, to pick the books I'm going to be reading. But for those of you who are regulars, let's see how I did in the month of January. Now I do kind of just want to put a disclaimer on this because I'm actually filming this video 3 or 4 days earlier than I intended to because I had a little bit of extra time and I was feeling productive. So this is my stack for January. We had Oathbringer Part 2, which was to read a fantasy, The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page, which was to read a contemporary, The Mask Falling, which was to read a sci-fi, Year of the Witching was other, Kingdom of Flesh and Fire was fantasy romance, and Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb was also a fantasy. And then I also had one ebook, which was Captive of Wolves by Eva Chase, and that one was to read an ebook. So I have currently read 4 of the 7. I'm almost done with The Mask Falling. I'm hoping to finish it after I film this video. I still have Year of the Witching to go, but it's only around 350 pages and I've heard it's really compelling and easy to get into. And then I also have Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb, which I have not started yet, but I do intend to start it by the end of the month. So as I am filming this earlier, I will not be taking a punishment right now. However, if we get to the 1st of February and I have not started Ship of Destiny, I will pull a punishment in my first vlog of the month. So I do have a couple of things going on in February. There are 2 readathons that I would like to participate in. The first one is Polarthon, hosted by Jade over at Jade Ray Reads. This is a 1-week-long readathon that surrounds reading polar fantasy, which is Jade's favourite genre. This year you have 4 teams to pick from. I'm going to be on Team Walrus. However, I'm not going to be showing you ahead of time what my TBR for that is because it is actually a little bit interesting and I kind of want to do a themed vlog as such around it, but I will be participating in that one. And then as well as that, we have FaroFeb, which is a month-long readathon event type thing. There's a ton of stuff going on. There's stuff happening on Instagram. There are YouTube live shows. I'm going to be hosting 2 of them. One of them will be an interview with the author Amanda Boucher on the 7th of February, and the other one is going to be a wrap-up of the event with Ashley from Frolic Through Fiction and the creator of the event, which is Harriet Moore, the author of Queen of Empire, on the 28th of February on my channel. But along with that, there is also a readathon. There are bingo boards with this readathon and I am going to try and read as much fantasy romance as possible and fill in the bingo board as I go. February is also the shortest month of the year, which is something that I keep forgetting. So my hopes for my Bookopoly TBR, I don't even really know. I have a few arcs, I have read-alongs, so I think we're just gonna go with it. I'm gonna fit in what I can for the things I'm participating in, and if it doesn't work in my favor, it doesn't work in my favor and we'll just roll with that. So now all that is out of the way, let us get into our first roll of February. Okay, so last month we ended on ebook. First roll is a 3. And that is a book for review. So roll number 1 was for review. This means that the book I will be reading is one that I have for review, so something from NetGalley or an arc that has been sent to me by the publisher. So for this one, I'm going to be going with The Secrets of the Star-Crossed by Clara O'Connor. This is the first book in a young adult fantasy series. I don't know what the plot of it is, but it is a blend of Arthurian legend, Celtic folklore, and also the Roman Empire. All of those elements seem incredibly interesting to me, and I'm really excited to see how they are blended together into this story. Arthurian legend retellings are really hit and miss with me because I love Arthurian legend, but I have yet to find a retelling that I do actually enjoy, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this is going to be the one. This is a January arc as well, so I should have read it by now. The release date on this was the 21st of January, so I am a little bit late, but even if the time passes on the arcs that I have, I do still read and review them as soon as I possibly can. Roll number 2 is a 6. and that is a science fiction. Roll number 2 was a sci-fi, which threw a spanner in the works a little bit because of all the genres I wanted to read this month. Sci-fi was actually not one of them, but this is the genre that I had my patrons pick for, and their options this month were Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline. This is a futuristic post-apocalyptic virtual reality sci-fi and the sequel to Ready Player 1. They also had The Boy on the Bridge by M.R. Carey. This is a companion novel novel to The Girl with All the Gifts, and this is a post-apocalyptic zombie story. The third one was Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. This is your typical young adult space sci-fi, and this one is the sequel to Skyward. And the last one was Deviate by Jay Kristoff. This one is the sequel to Lifelike, and it is a young adult post-apocalyptic steampunk Anastasia retelling. But the winner with an overwhelming majority, which I'm actually surprised about, is Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. I really did think that Ready Player 2 was going to give this a run for its money, but apparently not. So in Skyward, we are following a girl called Spencer who has lived her entire life in the shadow of her father, as her father was a renowned pilot who then deserted from this monumental battle. So Spencer and the remaining members of her family have been branded cowards, and this has made life very difficult for Spencer. She doesn't really have any friends, her family aren't allowed to have real jobs, but all Spencer wants to do is to attend the military flight academy to become a fighter pilot herself. I really loved Skyward. I gave it 4 stars because through the beginning I was struggling to get into it and I didn't love Spencer, but by the end I was obsessed with this story. I teared up at multiple points and Spencer really grew on me as well, so I'm really excited to be diving into this one, and thank you so much to my patrons for picking this one for me. Roll number 3 is a 9. Oh no. That is a pet pick. Okay, so these are the 3 books that Hamilton is going to be choosing from. They are all fantasy romance because I am going to be participating in FaroFeb. So we have The Emperor of Evening Stars by Laura Thalassa. This is the novella in the Bargainer series. It is nice and short and I really need to continue with this series. We also have A Promise of Fire by Amanda Boucher. I will be reading this anyway because I have an event with Amanda Boucher on the 7th of February, but it would be nice if I could get it into my Bookopoly TBR. And over here we have A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Now this is actually a stand-in. This is a stand-in for A Court of Silver Flames, but obviously that book is not out yet. I do not own it, but I will be dropping everything to read it as soon as it arrives. This could go either way. I think what I want him to pick is A Court of Silver Flames, but realistically this is the best thing he could pick in terms of making my life easier. So I have The Dreamies and I don't actually know where he is right now, but I'm hoping by shaking the packet I can summon him. Here he comes. Come on boy, they're over here. Oh, we have a winner. Hamilton, what have you picked? Hamilton has selected Emperor of Evening Stars by Laura Thalassa, and now he's going to go through and eat the rest of his treats, which rightfully so, he's done a good thing. So for roll number 3, our guest star of the video, the wonderful Hamilton, picked The Emperor of Evening Stars by Laura Thalassa for me. This one is the novella in the Bargainer series, and the Bargainer series follows a woman called Callie who is a siren, and she has a string of hundreds of black beads up her arm, and every bead represents a debt that she owes to the bargainer. Book 1 is told in 2 timelines. The first one is 7 years into the past where Callie is acquiring all of these debts, and the second timeline is present day where the bargainer has finally come to collect what she owes him. This is a new adult fantasy romance series. If you are a fan of A Court of Mist and Fury but you want more smut, which I know A Court of Mist and Fury is smutty, but if you want it in like a contemporary fantasy setting with a fair bit of smut, then I would recommend this series. Emperor of Evening Stars in particular is the 2.5 installment, and I believe it is from the perspective of the bargainer, and it covers some of his early life as well as the events of the first 2 books. Roll number 4 is a double, and that is 12. And that is a community shelf card. Please be kind. That is a chance card. I pulled a chance card. Please be kind. Oh no. Curtis picks a book. Oh no. So roll number 4 was a double. It is only our first one, so I'm not too stressed about that. But once again, the choice to put books on my own TBR has been taken away from me, and Curtis is going to be picking me a book. So I'm gonna go and get him. I have no idea what he's going to pick. He has a vague idea of what I've read. He has a vague idea of what I like. He knows who my favorite authors are. This could literally go anyway. I have no idea what to expect. So we'll see what happens. So this is Curtis.
Hello.
You haven't seen him in a while, but he is going to be picking me a book. So do you have any like thought processes? Do you have any idea what kind of thing you're going to go for? Because you've had a little bit of time to think about this.
Which I haven't thought about it.
Right, great start.
Yeah, I have no thoughts.
So how are you going to pick?
Look at the books.
You're just going to have a look
I'm
around?
just going to look at the books, yeah.
Okay.
Look at the book.
Have a look around then.
Look at the book. Show me where all the books are.
Well, there's like some here. There's a lot down there. There's also that shelf. That's fair game. The grey shelf over there, apart from Sarah J Maas because I've read it all. And you've got 2 book carts to choose from.
Should have been looking at books before.
I've always said that. I've always said that you should have been looking at books. That's Ink by Alice Broadway.
And there's a map in it.
A lot of my books have maps. That one is about, I'm not sure what the plot is, but it's in a society where when you die, your skin is taken off and it's like made into a book of your life.
Never mind.
I believe that one is feminist fiction. Obama really likes it, and it is about women being given the power to electrocute people, I think.
Okay. Intriguing.
You can't go through every book I own.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Just judge them by the edges?
Well, like when you go into a bookshop and you're picking a book for yourself and you're just browsing.
Never do that.
What do you look at? You look at stuff that might be interesting.
A review. Someone tells me what it's about, or it's reviewed by someone I respect.
Not me though.
I've read books on your recommendation before.
No, I don't think you have.
No, but you've read books on my recommendation.
Yeah, it's not the same thing.
The Good Hand.
The Good Hawk by Joseph Elliott. Tip it forwards. There we go.
When darkness falls, heroes rise. You know, she wants to live forever and she's going to green juice, yoga size and meditate.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be slightly satirical.
There was a balloon.
Oh, that one is a Sleeping Beauty retelling with a female-female relationship from the perspective of Maleficent or an evil fairy.
Doesn't tell you that.
That's because it's a proof. It's only out in April. Most of those are subscription box books.
Meaning?
No, just that's what they are. That's why they're there. There you go, now you can go through them. That one is a story about a human and a cyborg, and I think cyborgs know real society, and a cyborg princess falls in love with a human lady servant. I don't know if she's a servant or like a handmaid or something. Female-female relationship sci-fi.
Like coffee stand.
I did spill coffee on that, yeah.
First I thought it was supposed to be like that, it was part of the design. Let me look at my maybes. Oh, that sounds too sad. Between these 3.
Okay. So you've got The Power, Star Daughter, and Suicide Club. What are you going for?
Not sure. Really not sure. I would roll the dice, but if we can't roll dice, it's because we've already rolled dice together.
Well, yeah, it's your pick. That's the point.
Suicide Club, I guess.
Okay, so Suicide Club by Rachel Heng it is. So after much deliberation, Curtis picked Suicide Club by Rachel Heng. This is one that I'd requested in Arco when it was released in I think 2018 maybe. Yes, and I wasn't approved, but then I found it in a charity shop, so I picked it up, and this is kind of like a sci-fi utopian story. So this is set in a world where you can live forever. Certain people have the right genetics to have the potential to live forever, but to do this you have to live the perfect, most ideal, healthy lifestyle. So you have to do things like meditate, drink green juice, and like do yoga and things like that. And the main character is determined to live forever. However, she does have a brush with death that puts her in the path of an organization that help her to resurface some childhood memories and things that she used to enjoy, which makes her question what it really means to live. Don't know what to expect from this one. Honestly, his choice threw me through a loop. The first cart he was looking in, that is the Unhaul project that I've been talking about. Those are all the books that I want to read and unhaul, and that isn't even done yet. I haven't even been through everything, and I think that this one would have been in there had I have got to sorting through that part of my cart yet. So yeah, at least I get to read this. I've seen that it has a very low rating on Goodreads, but I sometimes enjoy books that have really low ratings on Goodreads, so we'll just have to see how this one goes. Roll number 5 is a 7. And that is fantasy. Roll number 5 was a fantasy, and for this one I'm actually keeping it quite simple. As you guys know, I am a host for the Stormlight read along. We are going to be doing the live show for Oathbringer in February, which I have already read. We are currently discussing a time and date, but it is going to be on my channel, so keep your eyes peeled for that if you're interested. And the next thing I need to read is Dawnshard by Brandon Sanderson before I go into Rhythm of War. So this is a 200-page novella that follows a think it follows Lopen, and it is set in the Stormlight world. It goes in between Oathbringer and Rhythm of War. The Stormlight Archive, if you guys don't know, is an adult epic fantasy. It is the biggest, most expansive series in Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere, and it follows a group of legendary knights who have to rise up again to tackle the oncoming apocalypse in this storm-ridden landscape. Oathbringer was amazing. Really excited for Rhythm of War. I'm going to be reading Dawnshard so that I can get the full picture, because I like to read everything when I'm reading a series, but I don't love novellas, and I would much rather be back into the action with Rhythm of War than Dawnshard. So I don't know how I'll feel about this. I'm intrigued to read it, I'm excited to read it, but you guys just know I don't love short things in general. And what will hopefully be our final roll, roll number 6, is a 7, which is a romance. And for our final roll, roll number 6, we landed on romance, which is perfect for February. And for this one, I'm going to be reading Desperate Measures by Katie Roberts. I'm going to be buddy reading this with Claire, who is one of the most wonderful and supportive members of the book community. So this is the first book in the Wicked Villains series. All of the books in this series are contemporary, smutty romance Disney retellings, but the romance is between the princess and the villain. So the first one, Desperate Measures, is between Jasmine and Jafar. I love Disney, so the concept of this series really intrigued me. You guys know I like my smushy reads. I've heard great things about this series. The only thing I'm worried about in terms of this one in particular is that I don't even like Jafar in the Disney movie. Like, some villains I like, I don't mind them, but Jafar has always seemed real sleazy to me, so having that in the context of this romance novel, I'm feeling just a little bit strange about it. But this was also a gift from Nikki, who's one of my patrons, so thank you so much, Nikki, for sending this to me. So that is it for my Bookopoly TBR, and strangely enough, it is only at 1,800 pages. That's so small. That is so small. But I do still have a couple of things to add, the first of which is my monthly Patreon Inner Circle book draw. This has recommendations from my inner circle here on Patreon. Thank you guys always so much for supporting my channel. I truly appreciate you guys. But yeah, let's see what we've got in here. Oh no, I get nervous about this. I'm just gonna go for it. Let's just go for it. Okay, this one. Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. This one is Bobby's pick, and let me tell you, she is going to be elated. I said that sarcastically, but she is actually going to be thrilled. So Red Sister by Mark Lawrence, I believe I actually just put this on my 2021 TBR. This has been recommended to me countless times. Bobby actually bought me this entire series, I think it was last year, because she really wants me to read this. But you guys know how I am, especially starting new series, also putting off things that I'm really excited about. But this has been recommended to me because one of my favorite series is Nevernight, and this is just like a more adult Nevernight, I guess. Nevernight is still adult, but Red Sister follows a girl called Nona Gray who goes to this convent where all of the nuns are assassins. That's all I know. I don't really know about the overarching plot. That is all I've heard. I've heard I'm gonna love it because it's similar to the plot of Nevernight. The only thing that's kind of putting me off with this series is that Mark Lawrence is a grimdark author, and I believe that some of his books, especially this series, the Prince of Thorns ones, are actually quite grim in parts. But I don't think Red Sister's as bad, but this is going to be my first book from Mark Lawrence. Really excited to read it, and Bobby can stop hassling me now, which I'm also really happy about. Aside from that, there are a couple of other things I will definitely be reading. The first one is A Promise of Fire, which is the first book in the Kingmaker Chronicles by Amanda Boucher. This one is the first book in a fantasy romance series. There is an icy magical kingdom in the north, and the south is ruled by a warlord. The main character is a circus performer, and she gets captured by the warlord. As I mentioned, I'm interviewing Amanda Boucher, so I would like to have read this before I do that, and I will be making sure that I do. The other one, of course, is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas. I was really hoping I could get this onto this TBR. Didn't quite work out all right, but this TBR is small enough that it's absolutely fine. I don't think I'll have any problem reading this month, and no matter what happened, I was going to be reading it anyway, let's be real. And if you guys don't know, this is the new book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, but it is the start of a new series that follows Nesta, who is Feyre's sister, and that is all I can really say without spoilers. I'm pretty sure you guys, especially if you're watching my channel, are aware of what A Court of Thorns and Roses is, and if not, I do actually have a guide to Sarah J Maas that you can check out if you would like to. And then the final book is Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. Don't intend to read this entire thing in February, but I would like to make a start on it. But we will see how it goes. I'm going to prioritize A Promise of Fire, A Court of Silver Flames, the books that are on my actual TBR, the Patreon pick, my Polarthon TBR, some more fantasy romance. Yeah. So I don't know what's happening this month, to be fair, but we have my solid TBR. So these are the books that I have to read this month. This is such a tiny stack. The total page count for Bookopoly is around 1,800. You add Red Sister, which I also have to read, that's 2,300. And then when you add A Promise of Fire and also A Court of Silver Flames, it comes to around 3,300, which is still below the average that I read every single month. So I'm golden this month, and I'm actually really happy about that. So that is it, guys, for my February TBR. It was actually a great one. I am so thrilled. Please let me know down in the comments if you have read or are going to be reading any of the books that I'm reading this month and your thoughts on them. Aside from that, please don't forget to like this video if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna. If you head into my description box, you'll find a link to my Goodreads, Instagram and Twitter if you'd like to follow me on any of those, as well as a link to my Bookish body butter and candle website, the Instagram for that, and a 10% off discount code. But that's it from me today, guys. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you will go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.